But when it says not all things are present alike to them, that means they don't see that it's divineness then. It's radiance.
And what's the reason for that?
Each
Come on.
order is present in the degree of its capacity.
Also remember 143, what you just did, it's obscured by its own weakness from the radiance itself, its own impotence. Go ahead.
And
All right, okay, now. Yeah, want to do more?
well, I'm just wondering, is it, when it goes down to 143, is it because its impotence, yet it is not by its own potency, but through the impotence of the participant, order is present in the degree of its capacity. So that keeps it to a certain level. That's its degree of capacity. I'm following. Okay.
Great.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, well,
And enjoys.
as my uncle used to say, if you can't be certain, be sure. Okay. Now, I now want to give you two problems. Right? One is called the problem of Paul and Socrates. We looked at the problem of Paul. We haven't mentioned Socrates yet. And that's what I want to wait for. All right. But that's enough. Let's go back now. To here. Convinced of these principles, would you not agree? You want to be very attentive to whatever takes you away from your goal. For that is the block. That's your block. You want to know your block? Right? Listen as you try to achieve what's most personally significant to you. Whatever it is that persuades you to give up your goal, that voice, that feeling state, that attitude, whatever it is, those three, right? That's reflecting your problem, your block. And it's persuading you to give it up. That is what I call your inner sophist. That inner sophist has an origin, right? Comes from somewhere, comes from your experiences that have convinced you that these ideas can justify your failure. Any idea that justifies your failure is sophistry. Period. Right? There's only one standard: excellence. Anything in any way that convinces you that you can't achieve an inner excellence is a problem. Sophistry. Yeah.
And that's another principle appears to assume dominion in 143?
Right, right. Now, some people might say, oh no, that shows the evidence of something imperfect in the nature of reality or in opposition to reality, a demonic force or something like this. Well, these are belief structures that people then rely upon to justify their own impotence. All right, okay, now we go for the next one. And that's why nearly all philosophers in the early paintings, not only did they have sunglasses, but they always had big ears. Right? Because they were always listening. Right? Always inner listening to these voices that persuade them not to do what leads to their own excellence, right? So isn't that true? The Buddha has a statue and he's got the biggest ears known in any sculpture. Yeah, that's why I got them. A friend of mine told me that. And while he was known to lie, I thought this was true. All right, okay, back. Here we go. The problem?
By the way, you're not going to go to Socrates without doing a little more with Paul. I mean, what is this God he's talking about?
Grace.
Yeah, so that's grace. How's this related?
Yeah. Well, the problem with Paul is twofold. One is you have his own statement of his conversion in Galatians, and you have three accounts in the writings of Luke, who appears to have lived 40 years after him, and gives an account of this conversion experience. Of course, it doesn't appear in Paul's own writing, so therefore there's a problem of whether or not it's genuine and things like this occur. And that's a theological nice argument that goes on among scholars, theologians. So let me deal with Socrates, okay? All right, okay. Luckily enough, I brought a book. I'll just read a few quotes for you, and but where God posted me, I'm reading the Apology, but where God posted me, as I thought and believed, with the duty to be a philosopher and to test myself and others, there I should fear neither death nor anything else and desert my post. For this is what God commands. Make no mistake. And I think there is no greater good for you in the city, in any way, than my service to God. Now, therefore, gentlemen, so far as for pleading for my own sake, because the apology is the trial, as you know. Now, therefore, so far from pleading for my own sake, as one might expect, I plead for your sakes, that you may not offend about God's gift by condemning me. For if you put me to death, you will not easily find such another, really like something stuck on the stake by the god, though it's laughable to say so. I'm skipping. And therefore, unless God sends you another in his care for you, that I'm really one given by God, I'll give you some reasons. And he then gives some reasons why he thinks that. Now, I could give a couple of more quotes, but read one more, several very fine ones. And I maintain that I have been commanded by the God to do this through oracles and dreams and in every way in which some divine influence or other has ever commanded a man to do anything. Now, would you not agree? One might claim God got to you or contact you through dreams and meditations and chanting and a whole variety of ways. Now, what does this mean? And I maintain that I have been commanded by the God to do this through oracles and dreams and in every way in which some divine influence or other has ever commanded a man to do anything. It's been busy then, hasn't it? Now, wait a minute. Is that a special relationship? What's the difference between this and this?
No relationship.
Looks like a relationship to me.